I'm gonna cry. All of this is, all of what you had played and what, when I came in, has been exactly what's been on my mind. And it's absolutely beautiful when Spirit speaks through us and we take the time to listen. I have a hard time doing that, so I have to force myself and find tools to do that. So when Diva had played her music, her song, I didn't understand a word, but I felt absolutely everything that was brought to our attention, and I think that's crucial for us. And when we're created, the first thing that's created is our hearing in utero. So we hear, and that's our very first thing that we listen. It's hearing. So we're just hit with what we hear, our parents, our family, their work, and just everything. So we're introduced before we even are given to the world. And my spiritual journey started when I could hear things. And that was very hard for me to accept and to go around and be myself, because everyone wanted to tell me that I was wrong and tell me that that's just another, that's not real. And so I had gone into like shutdown mode, where I would go to the golf course and spend my time with nature, because I lived right there, and if there was a problem, I didn't run to my friends, I ran to the sand trap to just draw in the sand trap or whatever. That's my higher power giving me what I needed to receive. And it took me a long time, again, the struggles of acknowledging any of that. But I also had this beautiful voice inside, very calm, telling me, answering those questions, because the adults in my life just did not want to hear it. So when I would do whatever I was doing, I'd hear this voice, and she's so mellow and so calm, and she's just, you are on your journey, and this is your journey to share with others. And I didn't know what she was talking about. So until I came here, which was in like 2012, 2013, I had to seek my like-minded people, because I was a stay-at-home mom. I married my boyfriend 7 years later, and so high school sweetheart, and then, you know, of course, trials and tribulations. 37 years later, we're here. This is where we are. This is where I am, married with 3 boys. And it was difficult when they turned 10, because they were now venturing out and becoming one of us. And of course, there's a lot that impacts them, and I would have to counteract that, and I think I did a pretty good job, but because they're understanding in the process of being spiritual beings. I know that I'm a spiritual being. I have a really hard, my biggest rejection in life is this human figure, this human body, the human things that I have to do. And when I had given birth to my children, who my first was a miracle, because I had placenta previa, and if you don't know, that's, the placenta is, you know, you have to have a C-section. So in my 4th month, I had prayed for these little guys to move the placenta so I could give birth naturally. It happened, and my doctors were shocked. But I did that, and the only way I look back, and of course I'm going to dissect it. I'm like, where did this come from? What was that? What? So I look back, and I'm thinking that was out of love, pure love. the first time that I truly felt that power of love, I was able to move a placenta and attach it, reattach. It, no, look, gotta say, when I went to deliver the placenta, it did not want to come off. They did some good work. They did. But the next two children were, that was just a beautiful experience. I won't drag y'all into that, but each and every one of my experiences, I try to approach it with love and walk through it with love. And of course, I don't love what's happened, so I'll walk away and I'll go within. And my journey of self-seeking brought me here, and I learned to just accept the love that is actually in these rooms. It's actually in the world. It does exist outside of me. And that was huge, because I'm thinking, I'm the only one, and I'm not. But I was the only one in my household, because there was dysfunction. I'm like, but if you did this and she did that, and then you guys would be able to find what you need. And they were just too busy in their storm. And I understand their storm, because my storm was around alcohol, and I had to enter a program to help me get through that. And during that time, I was seeking. I knew I was seeking for something, and I found this program. And I call it a program because it is. It is who we are and who we identify ourselves with. There is no punishing God. When I was growing up, my obsession with Jesus and the 7 deadly sins is what got me to where I am today, because I did the opposite of the deadly sins, and I followed Jesus. And his message is he never accepted that he was the healer. He just wanted us to know that we can heal ourselves. And I am a healer. I am a caregiver. It's just been given to me, because I didn't struggle. Did I like it? Not always, but then I had to find out what was it that I needed to learn in these experiences. And when I go in and I'm quiet, I receive that message, and it's just an amazing, amazing experience. And I really am babbling here. So our responsibility as human beings in reincarnating ourselves, I look back in some of my reincarnation times doing, regression. I have found many, many lives. But then I go back and I have healed them. I have healed from them, and that helped me get to the next step. And then as I'm growing and I'm feeling, well, I can't date them. There's no date. There's no dating. So if we're all in the realm, and this is an illusion, we're playing the movie, and what role do I want to play? I am in my 50s, so I am in my 5th season on my 5th show. So that's how I simplify things so I can move on. My mother had passed a year ago on Friday, and I thought I was going to be in tears. I kind of was in tears with all of it, but I know that she's here. I know that I can talk to her. I know that any ancestor. Her parents had passed away when I was not even born, and then we moved in when I was age 2, and they both died in that house, 3 months apart, leaving behind a 12-year-old and a 17-year-old, and these were my aunts, and my mother had married and had one child. Then she had me and had to move back into this chaotic teenage space who had no parental guidance. So my mother was taken from her responsibilities with her family to dealing with these crazy girls. her sisters, and she kind of got on that storm. She went with that instead of taking care of herself, and I think that this is the reason for our human experience, is to take care of ourselves. We can take care of others, but we can't do it until we take care of ourselves. And so for pride, 7 deadly sins, pride, we need to use humility. Greed, we need to use generosity. Lust, abstinence. And envy, we need to use kindness. Gluttony, we need to take it in moderation. And our wrath, we need patience. I'm working on that. Sloth, I'm here. I have a cold, so I apologize. But back in the day, I would have used this and not shown up. Just I'm sick. I can't show up. And I had none of those feelings today. That's by the grace of God. So the grace of God, or higher power, however we want to look at it, has power if we allow it and let go of this that always wants to talk. So there's the positive, and this is how I see it. This is my positive side, and this is my negative, which is the living people, could be the dead. But if I hear anything and feel it, I feel it on my left, and I know that that's the way I gotta go, even if I don't like it. So if I'm gonna go and be greedy, be envy, and prideness, if I carry all that, then I'm gonna just struggle until I get to that point. And it's duality. So we as human beings truly can make things very difficult. I have other topics and things to talk about, but does anybody have any questions that you would like to ask that about, yes.
When you were saying the 7 sins,
Yes.
were you saying to for the actual sin, were you saying what to do instead of the sin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so the 7 deadly sins, I was obsessed with them.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with, we were Catholic. I had older ladies that would do the rosary beads, and they would all be in a room, and I felt that. I don't know what they were doing, but I felt that, and I always wanted to knock on the door, but I couldn't because, I was anxious. I was an antsy little one. But they prayed. They would pray. So it was kind of like their own program where that's what they had done. And then you go into church, and then you've got these people talking to us who just aren't true. I'm true. I'm not going to feed you anything, and I'm not going to touch your children. So that was another thing. I've gone through quite a bit. Yes.
I have to share this just because it's not a question, but you and I went out on Wednesday and we just enjoyed the nature, and we were talking about today, and you were talking about what you were planning on talking about, and this is what I was going to share with you, but I feel like it's kind of important. So we met Wednesday, and then we know each other through the program that we also do together, so it's not a secret. And I met with my sponsor on Friday, and she has me doing my next portion of our work together. And what her assignment is for me to do, and this, again, this is incredible. I mean, it's just, yeah. Write 2 experiences from your life relating to each of the 7 deadly sins. You should have 14 experiences. And I was like, okay, now the 7 deadly sins are something that you hear about, right? But not I don't hear about that twice in a week, nor am I asked to do an assignment for something that we just talked about. And I was like, wow, if my higher power, if my God is not putting me with the right people at the right time and talking about the same thing, and I hadn't even spoken to her about that conversation that we had. So I just had to share that with you. And
Validate
because it gives me
nature.
goosebumps, because that's not something that
Mhm.
is just, you know, in everyday conversation.
Yeah.
And it was like, are you kidding me? This is unbelievable, so,
Yes, validation.
validation, thank you.
Yeah, and I do look for the validation too. And that is something that the program has taught me, again, to be here, because I was scheduled. But it also taught me how to dissect all of the things that I need to dissect, and to come to a realization of people just don't know yet, or they know more than I do. There is equality, like we are balanced, and we are all the same. It doesn't matter what gender, woman or not in that, but we do give birth to all of you. And it has been a man's world, and I think that what I'm seeing in the world and the universe is there, we are demanding, because Mother Nature is mad, kindly said, and she's making sure that we get the message. And I say she because she's a living, breathing unit, and then higher power is the one who created us, and who could have created that? I mean, we function like the trees, we are the same. We are all from the nature, and when we pass, I know that I can talk to these people, and I know that I talked to my grandparents, and they were there. They helped me through this, but I'm crazy because that's what they wanted to say, and you know, but they just weren't ready to hear that. They weren't ready. It was 55 years ago. They were not ready for me, and my mother had passed, and in her passing, in her last few years, I've learned a lot from her, but she's also learned a lot from me, how to let go, how to make that journey, how to believe and have faith in what is, because we create our own demise or not, and it is truly up to us. I can look at today and say, oh my God, that was horrible, or whatever, but why would I do that? That would just destroy. So everything that is grand, it's just grand, and I go with the positive side. I can pick anything out in a negative scenario and find the positivity in it, but I also can see a positive scenario and throw some negativity in it too, and that's balance and learning and understanding how to communicate. And did you have your...
I did. My question was more around the duality, and I know that you had explained more. Like, I just want to, I don't know why, because you've talked about it many times in our conversations, and it won't sink in. Like, can you give me like that example again, or kind of elaborate?
Duality is anything really. It's the white, black, it's the yin yang, it's the positive, negative, it's the up, down.
So kind of like your positive, negative, so you were just talking about.
So yes, the duality is, it falls in everything.
Yeah.
So male, female, you know, we don't have to have a relationship with the opposite sex or whatever. None of that is a thing. It does not matter. So there's gender confusion, and but what there is really is what I believe it's trying to show us is that we are all the same, and it does not matter. Love is love, and love can heal absolutely anything. And Jesus was another fascination of mine, because that's the only thing that I felt that was real in all religions. It didn't matter. It just was. I seeked. My mother thought I was going to get caught in a cult. A program could be considered a cult, but it's not. Because it's just not. It is to better ourselves, and this also was considered a cult. So my mother would have, you know, she didn't show up. She did not sit here and watch me because she wasn't sure. But because we had gone through so many things together, she was able to allow the people to care for her. It took a long time. She struggled with that. And she allowed the conversations in her head to become of such that she could talk to those loved ones that had passed. She could reach her parents, she could reach her friends, and I don't know if that added to her life, but I know that she had oh God, so she had liver cancer, bioduct liver cancer. It's 1 out of 3,000 people, or 1 out of 3,000 people that get this. And I'm like, wow, that's terrible. You know, she's going to have surgery, but then her liver was a different shape, so she couldn't do that. Who knew our livers could be a different shape? So it is all in our genes and what we are given, and I believe that we chose this path. I chose my family, I chose my units, I chose to come here. I didn't know that I was going to be saved by myself. So self-saving, that's Jesus working in my life. And I think I mentioned this before, is he's just a conduit. We can heal ourselves. We are self-healing units. And I don't think anybody realizes that when we go to the doctor, we go this and we go here, but if we just silence our mind and identify, I think that's huge, is to identify what we are going through so we can then move on to the next portion of our life. Sorry, I'm gonna cough. So, and duality, it's the opposite. Doing the opposite. Okay, so basically, doing the opposite of the 7 deadly sins is mastering the lessons of our own life. It's a master, and it's there. It's been there our whole lives, and it is in every religion. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Catholic. None of it matters. And Jesus Christ also has plays a part, but it's a different understanding. So however one understands anything, it's true. It's true to you, and to hold that within it's just self-power, self-cleansing, self-understanding, self-acceptance, which is huge. And that I have struggled with my whole life, because I thought I was, doing all kinds of great things. And I was, but I wanted to do them better. My higher power wanted me to do it better. So I had to learn these hard lessons. And through alcoholism, I'm so grateful, because I would not have gotten into the steps to learn more about myself. I have always been self-seeking. I knew I wasn't going to college. I knew I was going to get married and have 3 boys. I did not want 3 girls, so had I married that other guy, I would have had 3 girls. But I knew that I wanted what I wanted. So my intention, my whole life has been that. And everywhere I go, it's hard for me to now that I'm recognizing it, it's hard for me to realize that this is really what's happening. And in the program, I'm like, this is just a movie. This is a movie. This is not real. And I know the role that I want to play in my life, and that role is just to be kind, accepting, loving, understanding, giving. Receiving is hard. That's hard. Just working on that. So patience and receiving is very difficult. And most of all of you guys met my puppy. And yeah, we left him home. But he's taught me a lot, because in anything that I do with him, raising him, if he's doing something wrong, it's actually me. I'm not doing something right. I have to not yell at him, and I have to be quiet and calm and assertive, and that's not always easy. So, not. But it's working out. And he's taught me a lot. So if your dog is misbehaving, check yourself. Check yourself.
Same thing for your kids.
That too, that too. I haven't gotten there, yeah. Yeah, lots of things with our children. We also knowing that we all have a different path is huge, because I have to respect my children's path. It's a rough path. They chose a rough path. And I can only be what I am for them in what I can offer. And I don't have money, I can't drive you around, I can't help you with your schoolwork, because I didn't go to college. Not that they're going to school, but I think that this is college. This is a human experience. This is college. This is what we need to learn. Anything extra outside of that is going to college, learning to be a certain profession, and that's great. That we need professions in the world, but then we get lost in that shuffle and the desires and the wants, and when we're filling our wants, I know that if I want something, I gotta check myself. I know that if there is if I want to help somebody, I also have to check myself, because if I helped my mother do all the things that she needed to do, then she wouldn't have gotten up and had gotten that exercise. There, you know, from little to big, it's all duality in that, what's right, what's wrong, and we just don't always know. So there's the nervousness that gets in my way, and the fear. The fear is huge. But the 7 deadly sins house the ego and the self-will. They house it. Like, that's our house. Ego, self-will. We need to have ego, because I know that I would not have come in here had I not had any healthy ego moving me in. Because I needed that. Drove around twice. Did not want to show up. But I did, and who knew I was going to be here? I didn't know any of that. I knew that I was very comfortable. I wanted to learn about myself, and that's what I had come here to do. And this is what I'm doing, and I'm standing here, and I'm doing it. So that's pride. But it's healthy pride. I'm not going to go around saying, "Oh, look what I did." You know, it's not like that. It's healthy. And babies. Babies. She's a screamer. Okay, so opportunities. So our opportunities of growth and expansion with no expectation is really how I live my life. I can't expect anything, because I know I'll be let down, and then there's those feelings that we have to deal with, and it's just, I don't have time for that anymore. So now it's much easier for me to go through life and become and just do. I get caught up, but I know where I'm supposed to be. I have been introduced to myself through this program, church program, with taking spiritual classes and learning how to read people and learning how to share what I'm getting, delivery, and then our meditation. I learned how to meditate with them, and I did not know how to meditate. I thought I did, but I did not. You know, the trees are great, music is great, and I remember sitting and laying there. We were laying down, and Arlene put on the Tibetan bowls, And I cringed through the entire thing, did not like it, what is going on? So it was horrible. But I now know that all the noise, all the sounds was balancing my body out so I could accept all of this and walk through life. And now I play the bowls.
Yeah.
Now I've gotten I've gone to take a master class. I am not a master by any means. Will never master anything until I am in the fifth dimension and I am with my mother in that aspect. So, there is no end to this until there is an end of this solidity, and I know that, and I am grateful for that because I thrive through life. And I can also put the intentions in if it's positive, and then I'm seeing it actually happen. So that's amazing, and to throw this in, because I wrote it down when Diva was playing her music, that music of the bells, the music, I know it made me feel good. And I just saw something, and I know that there aren't many bells playing. I know my client, Pam, so I might know her, she loves her bells. She said, those are my bells. And she absolutely loves them. And I'm like, oh, there's no bells. Where'd they go? They took them all off. There were bells everywhere. The reason why they took them is because they are healing. As I cringed in the healing, in that meditation, I did not want to hear the bowls. But it cleared something for me to take those extra steps. And the bells that were ringing through the churches, there were tons of them. There are graveyards of bells because they're self-healing. And the world did not want that. The world wanted to control. So there are those political controls, the religion controls, the parental controls, the control, and there is no control. The only control that we have is ourselves, and that's just really what we have to learn about in ourselves. I just wanted to share all that. I am really going off the cuff here, so I hope I'm making sense. So, yes. And anybody else have any other questions? Because I don't really know where to go from here. I just want to share
something
so
that
much.
would tie in.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
This is something that came up on my feed the other day. If anyone ever dismisses you for being too sensitive, ask yourself this: who is more fragile? The person who is brave enough to share when something hurts, or the person who cannot apologize or admit to having caused pain? Sensitivity, empathy, compassion, these are badass superpowers.
Yes, yes. And I have one too, that came up this morning. And it's, you're healers. We are all healers. And there is no doubt I have in my mind, when you sit in my chair and I'm a conduit, I'm just clearing your energy field. And you have something to focus on for you to allow that healing to come through. I'm not doing it. You are doing it. I am just making that space. And I do literally see the pillars. So what I do is I use these pillars on all four corners of my property and one in the center. And I redo that all the time. And it protects the energy field around us. So pain travels through families until someone is ready to feel it. For many of us, our generational curse is avoidance. We come from people who just don't act like it didn't happen, but pain demands to be felt. Somewhere along the line, a child will be born with a heart that feels all. That was me. These are your shaman, your healers, the generational curse breakers. These are the ones who are born with the gift of feeling. And as we all know, you can heal pain that you refuse to feel. So if we're refusing anything, refusal is illness. My mother was a worry wart. I don't know if she had to have cancer. Honestly, she could have not. But I also can't go to that aspect either. So, you know, just acceptance and all is really what we need to do. And with that, I will say thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Amazing.